Well, good morning. Well, unless we get anyone else, we'll just get started on putting this white vinyl fencing in, and yeah, we'll see who joins us, and then we'll go take a tour of the farm if we get some other people. So the first thing I'm going to do is I got a like a marking line, and that's for the fence line in general. So that way we make sure to at least go straight. And then I actually measure from where to where the actual center of the post is going to go. In this case, it is 93 inches from what I remember. So I'm going to double check that, and then I'll just go down here and put a mark in the ground so I can start digging. Well, now that I got the mark in, we've put up probably like, I don't know, 30 of these panels before. So I've had an auger for most of it, but the auger refuses to work right now. So in the case that you don't have that, you can just use a post hole digger and hope for the best. So let's see how tough this dirt is. Meriwether. No, 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 no. Don't eat that. That's why it's protected by stuff. This ground is really hard. So what we'll probably end up doing is digging down a little bit farther, and then we'll put some water in it and let that soak in. Oh, dang it. Go, got into our pumpkin patch. Hold on. Hey, 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 hey. Ow. Oh, get started again. If you know anything about goats, they will get into everything. Starting to eat our stalks of corn that are weird. I'll have to show you guys in a minute, but they don't actually look like corn. I don't know what happened exactly. If you have an auger, it's much better. This sucks. If you're doing this too, the best way to do it is kind of go around in a circle. So that way you get different parts of the dirt and stuff like that. Instead of just going from one direction, you kind of twist around as you go. That helps. Okay. I'm going to fill that with water. Watch out. And hopefully not all of them are like that. That would be terrible. So while we're waiting on that, I'll go take a look at everything else here. Rora! Rora! Nope. There's my weather. So take a look at our ducks and our geese here. Clarence. He's the guard goose. He's not doing a very good job of guarding, but he's entertaining at least. Hi, honey. There's our ducks. At least 3 of them. Fourth one is over there drinking. Oh, they're cute. All right. Let's go over here. Take a look at the well. Make sure that's still good. Unfortunately, we have to keep an eye on this well pretty regularly, as well as the as well as the trees over here with the sprinkler system or the drip system. So we found if we have a power outage, it messes with the sprinkler valves and can cause it to get stuck open and drain like thousands of gallons of water out into our yard. So, we're looking good. Plenty of water. And we got our trees here. We tried to grow a bunch of stuff. Some of it's just going into, whatever you call it, hibernation, for the winter. But some of the trees are actually doing really well. I forget which one this is. This is an apricot. This one's doing all right. I think it just doesn't like the weather for being cold in the winter. What are we looking at here? It's a cherry Sprite cherry plum. So hoping all of these get better. The ones that have done really well, we have a couple other apple trees, Janagold and Fuji, but our pomegranates and our figs have really taken off. Let me show you. So this is one of our pomegranates. They all started really tiny, and they're in cages for the goats and for other predators, but we're going to be liberating them shortly. And these are our figs. They've grown like crazy. So we didn't get any fruit off of any of them this year, but oh well. I mean, that's how it goes. And then down here, these have grown intermittently. These are Goji Berries, and I still don't know exactly what to make of them, to be completely honest. So, and why they're not growing so well. So, to be determined. Okay. I'm gonna go check out our bees. I'm not gonna get too close before it gets done, but they're kind of in the center of our yard over here. I don't expect to see a whole lot of activity because it is the winter. So they're pretty much hanging out inside. I guarantee you if I open that up, they would go crazy. So I'm not going to do that, but I'll check those guys out later. So we'll head back over here to the fence posts, and hopefully that water's helped out a little bit. We got to get about a foot to a foot and a half down inside for the post. Because once we get about a foot and a half in there, we'll put the post in and make sure it's kind of at a decent level, close to it at least. And then we'll start assembling the fence paneling. And once we get all the paneling in, we can make sure it's all level properly. Excuse me, where it's not COVID. And then we can finally get everything set and install the concrete in that hole. So yeah. Let's see. Water hasn't gone down a whole lot, but hopefully at least it's penetrated a little bit. And it has. Well, at least it'll help. Well, don't assume that this is always going to be this difficult. It really isn't. I've had some that were actually a lot easier to use the post hole digger just because I didn't have to get out the auger. You know, this one is just one of the worse ones. Worse ones. Ooh. Okay. And once you get it about the right depth, what I'll do is I'll go towards the fence and away from the fence just a little bit to provide a little extra wiggle room because I found that sometimes you need to slide it back and forth to get a nice tight seal. So I found this as a technique that helps. I'll go ahead and go closer. I just use my post hole digger to kind of scrape away that side wall. Then I'll come back and use it to pick up the dirt. I'm sure there's a better way for that, like using an auger. So you can see behind us, we have our pumpkin patch. We also got, let's see what else, tomatoes growing. For some reason, tomatoes are still growing on these plants. It's crazy. It's middle to late October. Still got tomatoes growing. But this is Southern California. Things will grow weird times because the climate is weird for growing stuff. So, all right, so that hole is deep. Go ahead and get one of these guys. Okay, let's show you this real quick. You'll notice, one end has a lot more on it. It's got this hole. The other end doesn't. This very top. This is the top end, and this would be the bottom end. So you get this hole because it's meant to help water and concrete flow in and out from the fence line. So, and this actually, look at it, the corner piece, because it's got right next to each other, right here you see. So I'm going to use a different one that has an entry and an entry. There we go. See, it's got the hole still on the bottom. You can see through it, so that's exactly what we want. Go ahead and set it in the post hole. There we go. It's right above the ground, kind of like it is over here. So perfect. Hey, of course. So you definitely need a knife to open the fencing pieces. And I forgot, so I'll be right back.
This footstep is going to be a color bed.
Thank you. Thank you. That's cool. Very thoughtful. Got my knife. That's good. Now I can get going. House was warm, but now that I'm taking this off, it's kind of cold. As soon as I get working, it'll be fine. Okay. This thing open. Okay. I highly recommend having a trash can right here. It's because their stuff will go everywhere if you don't. So, let's go over what you got in here. Basically, it's very simple. You only have like three different pieces, types of pieces, I should say. Get off. Okay. So first, it's your bottom and top rails. These are what go on the bottom and top, surprisingly enough. You get two of those. And then the other things you get are the actual panels. You know, they go in between. You probably get about 15 of them. I didn't count. And you get two of these end pieces. They slide on to make it look like prettier at the edges where these connect to the edges. So, yeah. So what we'll go ahead and do to get started, make sure you can see everything, is we're going to get our bottom post here. So just I'll put in, like I said, about, I don't know, 20 or 30 of these on our property, so I've had some experience with it. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it into the one that's already concreted in. That's already part of your fence. And there's little flaps that you got to push in, so make sure to do that. Then you come over to your new one, tilt it outwards, and basically get the edge in, those little flaps in. And then you can basically pull it tight in between. So if that makes any sense. Then I'll go ahead and get the other top rail. Okay, this is the trick that I've learned after doing this a while. Go ahead and put this in top. And then, at least for now, I'm just going to set it on top of this beam. You guys can see that. Move the camera a little bit. Set it right on there because it needs to be up a little bit so I can put the fencing pieces in here and just slide them in. Once I get about 3 or 4 of these main panels in, then we won't need to do that. Got the end caps. I'm going to slide it on, if you can see right here. Okay. And all you got to do is get the bottom piece here and basically slide it in the slot. I'll come out and show you. Aurora. Say hi, Rory. Okay. So you got the slot, the end here. Make sure to put the end cap facing the big post. Slide it all in there. Then on the top, you do this at an angle because you want to slide this up and then in. Then I make sure to, at the top, just tap it, kick a little bit, get it in place. Okay. Now we'll just do this for all the other posts, and yeah, I'll come back to you with what we do at the end. So. Goats want to say hi. The goats are actually so curious. They're such cool animals. I love them so much. We have 2 goats right now. We got them in April. The white one that you've seen just a few minutes ago was Aurora. She came to us with that name as an adult, and then she was in milk at the time. She had kids in January, so we got some goat milk for a while. And then we got Merryweather as a kid. She was like 3-4 months old or so. So back to that in a second. So now that we've got at least 3 of those panels in, we can come over to our other side and lower that main post, the top rail, I should say. And that way, it just rests on all of these guys up here, kind of like that. And then we'll just fill in the rest as we go along, and then I'll show you from there. So continuing about our goats, while I get these installed here. Yeah, Merryweather Aurora, we actually milked her until probably August. She had quite a bit of milk, and that was awesome. And if you never had goat milk, it's pretty good. It is different than cow's milk. So it is kind of an acquired taste, but if you have a goat that's had a kid or kids, it's free. So that's nice. So what we're thinking about doing is getting a couple male goats here in about a month or so and kidding them, which means in January we're getting 2 of them, $2. You get 2 because we need to keep them company because they're going to be separate from the females or the does, because they will reproduce constantly if you keep them together. So what we'll do is we're getting $2 so they can keep each other company. Only one of them we're going to keep able to produce. The other one, after about a month, when they're 12 weeks old, is about the time to do it. We will castrate them, or one of them, and then it'll be called a wether instead of a buck. So let's keep them company. You only really need 1 buck in the property. And then probably summertime, we'll put them together and start breeding them. And so we'll have kids, and we'll be able to have milk all the time and have lots of baby goats, and that'll be fun. So we're trying to be more self-sufficient. Not like the grid completely. We're not like preppers or crazy preppers or anything, but we definitely want to be self-sufficient as much as possible. So just less reliant on, government, other people. That would be nice. So anywho, we're almost getting to the end here. As we get to the end, the last one specifically can be kind of difficult. So let's see what it says here. So the last one can be kind of difficult, but we'll show you some tricks that I've learned on how to get that in. Let me get this set up here. Of course, the wind is starting up. The wind is never fun when you're putting these in. They're huge panels. They just blow like crazy, surprisingly. Oh. Okay, got our last piece here. So we're gonna slide on our end cap. Okay, bring it over closer here so you can see a little bit better. Okay, now we're gonna kind of slide it down, just straight down. Sometimes you may have issues with getting getting it in, and you kind of just gotta mess around with it a little bit. You'll notice that this is on the side of the top rail. So you push the top rail over, and you kind of gotta just wedge it in there. Okay, I gotta push this down enough to get it in the slot on the post. It can be a painful process. There we go. All right. So now the big thing that you're looking at here, take you off the tripod here. After you get these in, is to make sure that there's no gap here. This is actually really good to make sure there's no gap in that. If there's a gap on the bottom, when it gets closer up top, you got to move the bottom over. You kind of figure that out. So the next thing I'm going to do is get my level, make sure it's at least semi-good before I start getting the concrete out. Because once you get the concrete out, it kind of goes quickly. So you don't necessarily want these completely level all the time because they do have a slope to them, right? Like these will follow the ground a little bit. You just don't want them to be going up and down constantly. So I'm just going to check it here. It's got a little bit more slope than those other ones, but it also is going down a bit. So I'm not too concerned about that. Okay. And I'm going to go over here and check the level on this guy. Make sure it's nice and straight up, which it is. And then this side, I'll figure out once we get the concrete in. Another trick I learned from my dad when we were doing this a few weeks ago is if we get a little ratchet strap, and that way we can hold it down and hold it nice and straight up and down. So I'll do, it's all dirty. I'll just go ahead and get everything prepped. So I'm gonna go and get my water over here and get a bag of concrete. All right. And I will say, you can use many different kinds of concrete. I like to use the fast setting stuff. It's in a red bag, at least at Lowe's. I'm sure it's at the other stores. But this stuff you don't have to pre-mix. You can put it in the post hole dry and then add water to the post hole. That's how I've done this, our whole fencing here. We'll show you in a minute after this one's set. And it's worked great, so no issues. Okay, I'll just cut a small hole in the end of it. See my awesome jeans. And then as I pour this in, I'm gonna try and keep it as straight as possible. It'll just help a little bit. Like for example, I know this wants to lean towards the camera, so I'm gonna kind of hold it back a little bit as I pour in. I'll just help a little bit. Not the end of the world if you don't. It just can help. Okay, make sure to get concrete in there on all sides. Some of them are harder to get in, smaller and thinner spots, but important to get it all around. Okay, and my trick to make sure it's kind of packed down a little bit is, there's a tool for this, but I don't have it. So I'll kind of use my level here, because you don't want the inside of the hole or the concrete to be like above the outside ground, because you want to keep a little bit of water as it's drying. If that makes any sense. So I'm kind of move this around in here. You got a stick that would work too. That works better, but whatever. All right. And after that's in there, Scott's technique is I will actually go and spray water inside the hole first. And that's just because um, it fills up from the inside, gets to the bottom first, and then I'll get the outside. Pretty simple. Um, this process is super easy in general. You can get a ton of these fencing posts done in one day. I think I've probably done about 15 of them in a day, and that was when we had to get them done because we were getting our goats in April. We had to get like a good chunk of them done. This is the majority of the fencing that I'll show you here in a second. So you can get a bunch of them done if you really want to. It's just a lot of work. It's also really helpful if you have that auger. That makes a huge difference. So, all right. So take a look here at what we got. So you can tell, see there's water inside and everything else like that, and the water outside isn't flowing in readily. That's because I filled up the inside first. So that's exactly what you want with this type of cement. Next, we'll go ahead and check the level here. You can see that. That's pretty good. We'll adjust it here a little bit. Okay, around a little bit. Perfect. And then this way, we'll check. And that's good enough. Sweet. Cool. All right. Nope. There's my, how you doing? Hold on. Sorry. There we go. So, let me go over here so you can see this better. I don't know who my one viewer is. So there was nothing out here when we bought this house. Like we had the fencing, the chain link around the pool, but that's it. We had to put in the kid safe, pool cover or pool fencing. That's it. And then we put in grass. That's another story. Don't ask. It's dead. But then we really wanted to enclose this whole area because we're going to have chickens and we're going to have goats and everything back here. So in order to do that, kind of like this big U behind your house. You can see it's one side of the house, just lots of this fencing. Put this all in myself up to the corner where it comes in this direction and goes behind the chicken coop. And that's kind of where we're at today. So eventually it's going to keep going until basically past the garden area, and then it'll come back towards the house on the far side of the playground area. If you saw that place that builds stuff from the summer, you understand the pain I felt with that. But that's basically it. There's not a whole lot to it. The key to all of this is having everything here and ready. Like I found that is huge. If you can have the water ready and the concrete ready, you can just bust through it. Especially if you have the measurement. So in this case, if you're using these, I believe these are 6 by 8 foot panels. Then the 93 inches should work. But just double check. If you know all that going in, it'll make it really helpful. And then you can just attack it and get as many done as possible. I'm gonna do a bunch more today. I'll hit the stream off here in a second. But if you guys have, for any of you guys are watching right now or watching later on YouTube, if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat. Even if I don't get back to you right now in the live stream, I will get back to you on them. That is my goal, to answer every comment, question on there. Yeah, otherwise pretty simple. Oh, yeah, you can see our garden here. I didn't forget to tell you about that. That's a whole nother story. We got pumpkins growing, but I don't know. They started dying, and maybe because it froze. I don't know exactly, but anywho. So yeah. So I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna get a bunch more of these fence posts in, or fencing panels in, and then once I'm done, I'm gonna secure the end one with some straps just to make sure it doesn't blow around in the wind. Yeah, hopefully we'll see how much we can get done today. So I'll make sure to post a picture of it of what we got done today on the channel later today. And yeah, if you, like I said, have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you on the next time. Bye, guys.